Hello all, welcome to my YouTube channel and another video. In this video I'm going to talk about the differences between Maven and Gradle. But before going to look at the differences, it is important to know about the similarities so that you can get a context on why differences are important. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So the first similarity between Maven and Gradle is that they both are the build tools and they both support automation builds. So what is a build tool? Build tool is something that allows you to make your files executable. It allows you to have dependencies to get the dependencies from a source. So that is what basically build tool does. So if you see after your file is executable, let's say in a jar format, then you can easily run your app or your application on the device of your choice, and in the desired format you can also package your application. So that is what build tool does. So now let's look at the next similarity. So the next similarity is the gav pattern. So gav or gav pattern is nothing but just a way of representing group id, artifact id and version id. So gav is an acronym for group id, artifact id and version id, and you have to provide these three parameters in both the Maven and Gradle. So that is the second similarity between them. The third similarity is that both do not support multiple inheritance. So you cannot have two parents in Maven and as well as in Gradle. So more than one parent is not allowed in both. So that was the next similarity. And now let me give you a brief context before we proceed to the differences. So basically what happens, let's say it is a build tool and it is building our application. So the complexity, like the time complexity, you can say it matters. If a build tool is taking so much time, then it is like a bad thing, because it is not an optimized way of doing the things. So that is why it is important to know about the differences between them as well. So let's get started. So the first difference between Maven and Gradle is the syntax that they use. So Maven follows XML syntax and it is written in an XML file, usually pom.xml file in Java, and it is not like it only supports Java, it supports other languages as well, like Ruby. So in the pom.xml, that also means project object model.xml file. In that we define all the dependencies, like it is the dependency that we want to import in our project and use it for further process. So these kind of things are there in the pom.xml file. And the similar is the case with the Gradle, but in case of Gradle it is using the Groovy language. So because of using the Groovy language, it follows a different syntax. And let's talk about the next difference. So next difference is related to the lines of code that you are going to write. So in Gradle you usually need to write less lines of code to achieve the same, because of again it's the Groovy language approach and it's smaller syntax. On the other hand, if you use Maven, you may end up using very more lines of code when compared to the Groovy to achieve the same task. This third difference is about the compile time. So compile time, here again the winner is the Gradle. Gradle is taking less time when compared to Maven, because of its unique optimized feature that Groovy allows it to perform the build faster. The next difference is the let's say you are having it is particularly about the use scenario. Let's say you have a large project. So in that case you would probably prefer using Gradle over Maven. Why? Because if you are using Gradle, so in that case your code will run faster, your build will happen faster, and apart from these things, it also allows you to write less lines of code. So if you are having a large project, so the things can go wrong. Let's say you are having thousands of lines of code if you are using the XML approach. So that is also the case. It is the use specific scenario. The next difference is regarding the dependency management. It is not like Maven does not support dependency management. It support and it does it very well, but Gradle also allows some extra features like API management and other things. The next difference is regarding the incremental build. So Gradle also allows for incremental builds as well. And apart from this, the Maven, as it is clear that Maven does not allow incremental builds, but it is also worth noting that Gradle also supports other features like compile avoidance, so that you can avoid the compilation of certain libraries in your code. So that was about the differences. Now let's talk about the which one should you choose. So if you have developers, so you are a developer that coming from a traditional background or following a conventional approach, and you are so familiar with the, let's say, XML syntax and other things, then you can also opt for the Maven, because it is not like that it is that much of a bad thing that you should not use it. It's like Gradle is just new, so that is the main reason it is having the new features. And let's to be honest that in most of the cases you may not be needing those extra features that Gradle provides. Yeah, it's like it makes sense that it provides extra features, but in most of the cases you may not be needing those features. So it is purely a use specific scenario, depends on the project requirements and the skills that the development team and other technical people bring on the table. So the decision is based on that. And one more thing is that Groovy, as it is a similarly new, so that is the reason that most developers may not be familiar with the syntax and may not be well versed with the Gradle as they are well versed with the Maven, because it is an old tool and it has been in the market for more than a decade. So thanks for watching this video and hope you have found this video insightful.